recording and we're live. Okay, we're recording now. Sorry for being a little lackluster. So today I got some really cool stuff to go over today. Some interesting stuff. I got a few requests to go over the Lightbox stack. We released a new update, so I'll just quickly take 5-10 minutes tops just to kind of show you that new update. Then we're going to go over some cool new browser testing. And I know a lot of you probably know how to do browser testing. I mean, it's not rocket science, right? But I'll show you some tips and tricks that I do for like testing how your website looks maybe on an iOS device, an iPhone, an iPad, without actually having to have one. Okay, I mean, yeah, I have one. I have an iPhone. I have my iPad, right? All right here. But maybe you don't, right? Maybe you don't have an iPad, or maybe you have an iPhone 3G and you want to know what it looks like on an iPhone 4, or you have an iPhone 4 and you want to see what it looks like with people that have an iPhone 3G, right? Other things, Internet Explorer, right? How can we test Internet Explorer nicely on our Mac, and things of that nature. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start off really quickly with the Lightbox stack. Another quick little plug. Here's my cool little video app. It's kind of coming along, everybody. I have some cool new little options here. If you have multiple iSites, you can swap between iSites. So now I'm over here. Hello! Okay. And then you can apply some filters, right? So you can kind of, make it look kind of cool if you want to look pixely and stuff like that, kind of cool. I am working on getting this released into the Mac App Store as is right now. I still have a bunch of new features I want to add to it, right? There is full screen mode as well, so you can actually see yourself in full screen mode, which is kind of cool. Okay, but and you can obviously, of course, resize the window to be whatever size you ultimately want, right? So kind of cool. That's my my app. It's currently called CamView. I don't know. I want to find kind of a catchier name for it. So if you have any ideas, please. Yes, they are Quarks filters. Just some core image stuff. Really simple stuff. Same kind of stuff you see in Photo Booth, right? And then if you have a cool name, if you have any ideas about a cool name, I'd love to hear it. Okay. So it will show up in the Mac App Store eventually. I'm hoping if I could do it by WWDC. I doubt that though. I don't know how long the app review process takes and all that jazz. But also another side note, I said this on Wednesday and I said it last Friday. Now that I'm kind of doing this live webcast thing on my website. If you've noticed, there is a new URL, joeworkman.net/live. Okay, there is no longer Rapid Weaver Live. It's just joeworkman.net/live. So if you are on the Rapid Weaver Live page, that does work right now. But I recommend you remember and change your bookmarks or whatnot. We are now on joeworkman.net/live, and I'll probably be removing the old link, the old page pretty soon. We had a couple small little changes to my site. If you notice here, bring over my site. Interesting to see if this causes a mirror effect because you're seeing the actual live feed. You actually have a tutorials tab now. The tutorials tab was moved to the top here. And then all these webcast recordings will be there. Okay, so pretty interesting. You are kind of seeing a mirror effect. That's kind of funny. Okay, so Lightbox stack. Rusty says he loves the RSS feed stack. We did release this free stack last week. It's super cool. It allows you to easily add little things like this, like on this page. This isn't my blog page, but yet I have my little RSS link here, and you can easily add RSS links to any page you want. Okay, and as you see, you can add multiple. So I have 2 RSS feeds on this page, and the way I did that is you just add in 2 of these RSS feed stacks on your page. Okay, so quick plug for the new free RSS feed stack. It is free. Go ahead and get it today and enjoy it. Okay. So right now I'm gonna jump over and just quickly go over the Lightbox update that was released this week. Okay. It is now version 2.1. Okay. And I like this update actually. I thought with the version 2, I didn't think I could make the Lightbox stack any better. To be honest with you, I was like, man, this stack is as good as it's going to get. I really can't see it being any more streamlined. Okay, but a user had actually had an issue with the stack IDs, right? So had a support case come in, and I give you in version 2, we have this little hint right here. So if you wanted to create a text link for your stack, I gave you the ID that Lightbox generates, okay, to launch it via textual link. Cool, right? Right? You no longer needed to do unique IDs and whatnot. And if you needed to do a text link, I gave you the ID to do that, right? However, okay, if you've been working with stacks long enough, you've probably seen a syntax similar like this: stacks _in_ a number _page and then a number, right? And that's a common thing, kind of a random generated number within stacks that it creates. Okay, so I was using that and I was passing that on to the customer and onto you guys to be able to utilize. And however, the problem with that is, and it was a brain fart on my side, that that ID isn't guaranteed to be the same all the time. Okay, so if I go ahead and let's say if we see this ID as stacks _in _6 page 0, right? And I kind of maybe move some things around. Okay, let's say I save my file, I close it. All right, let's open it again. And oh, there we go. So I modified my page a little bit, closed the file, reopened it, and if you look, this ID is now different. Okay, it's no longer 6 _page 0, it's 3 _page 0. So if I had created a text link to the previous ID, it would now be broken. Okay. So I wanted to, try to simplify this. The reason I did this random ID is because if you're not using a text link and you're just using the Lightbox stack within itself, this is perfect because you don't care what the ID is. As long as the stack knows what its ID is, we're golden, right? However, if you wanted to do a text link, again, this ID changes. Sorry if I'm being a broken record. So what I've done is I added I brought back the unique ID field. Okay. However, what I did was the default of the unique ID is this %ID%. Okay, which is a macro within stacks to generate a random ID. It's not guaranteed that ID will stay the same, but if you're just using the Lightbox stack within itself, so basically you're putting your launcher image here, you're putting your some text or whatever you want in here, okay, you're golden. Okay, but if you want to launch via a text link or your own external link somewhere, okay, you do have to change this, okay, and change it to Lightbox link. Okay, and what's cool is if you change this unique ID here, you'll notice that in edit mode, we also redefine the actual link that you need to put inside your href. Okay, the ID here. So that's cool. That pretty much solves that issue. Okay, so for a majority of cases, if you're just using it within the Lightbox stack, you don't really need to test this, change this ID. Like you don't need to touch it at all. Just leave it alone. Okay. Some other things we did with this update. You'll notice that there isn't a height setting. Reason being is we try to dynamically adjust the height to fit the content. Okay. I'll probably release another update a little soon to change the height algorithm calculations. There are some fringe test cases where height wasn't getting properly allocated. So look forward to another 2.11 update that fixes the dynamic height. But basically, you set your width of your light box, and the height will be automatically generated. Okay. Of course, as before, include lightbox scripts. So if you have more than one lightbox stacked per page, make sure that only one of these has this checkbox. If this is checked, you will have, when you click on a lightbox link, you'll have multiple lightboxes pop up. Okay. And if that happens, it's because you have this checkbox checked on more than once on your page. Okay. The next thing is the compliant launcher. It is now turned on by default because I figure most people are going to want to launch their lightbox from an image. Okay, so they have an image. They want the user to click on that image, and then that image will then display your lightbox. Okay, that's what most people want. Okay, however, and by doing it this way, you're completely WC3 compliant. Blah, 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 blah. Hence why it's called the compliant launcher. But if you uncheck this, you go back to kind of legacy mode, which is you can put in anything you want inside this launcher area. And wherever you click anywhere inside that area, your lightbox will be launched. Okay. This isn't WC3 compliant, this code, mostly because you have divs inside a link and so on and so forth, okay? But it is nice. It's a great feature. I use it all the time, actually. But again, I think most people, majority of the time, just want to launch via an image. So we've changed the compliant launcher so that when you now have an image well, you don't actually have to provide the path to an image. And then also you can edit your captions here in line. So if you want to double click here, you could just say my caption. Okay. Okay. If we want to just go ahead and completely create a little stack here, I'll throw in an image there. Let's go ahead and I'll throw in some text and I don't know, maybe a 2 columns thing here with a couple new icons from Elixir. Okay, so here's my launcher, right? Go into here. I have my caption with my image. I click on it and voila, there's my lightbox. Okay, really simple. I just wanted to kind of go over the some of the new features, the reasoning behind them. Oh, also another thing you might want to do is hide your launcher. Okay. Actually, if you go like that, it'll even hide it inside edit mode. Okay. Oh, look at that. That might be a bug. But basically, if you hide launcher, it will completely not use your launcher at all, and it's expecting that you're going to launch your lightbox from a text link somewhere, or you're going to provide your own launcher somewhere. Okay, so that's the new lightbox stack. Any questions in the room before before we move on? Yes. So the content that you add into the stack. Now let me turn my launcher back on. Okay. The content that you add into this area here determines the height, but this setting inside the settings HUD determines the width. So let's say I wanted my width to be 500 pixels. Okay. And then basically the stack would automatically determine the height that you would need, for that content. So you define the width, the stack will automatically determine the height for you. Okay. Yep, and these are Elixir's new icons. If you haven't seen, we'll do a small plug. Here's Adam's new icon set. Oops, right here. Okay, Adam's new icon set. Some beautiful new icons in here. They go up to 128 pixels, so you should definitely check them out for $20. These are fabulous for websites, for everything. I have a ton of Adam's icons. Okay, I have pretty much all of his icon sets. Okay, so and I do use Little Snapper to keep track of all my icons. There's a small little tip for you. One thing I do use Little Snapper for is to organize all my icons. It's pretty much iPhoto for icons for me, right? And screen grabs. I do use it for screen captures as well. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's see. I had a look at the demo last night. The lightbox did not close when clicking outside the lightbox. Yes, so with the lightbox stack, you do have to actually click on the close button to close it. So, you can't click outside. You click on the little close button and it does close it. So yes, you do have to click the close button in order for it to close. I'm currently working on a completely rewritten lightbox stack. The JavaScript that powers this lightbox stack is let's just say I don't want to touch it. So I'm completely starting over from scratch using jQuery. This lightbox stack does not use jQuery. It uses Scriptaculous and Prototype. I'm not a Scriptaculous Prototype guru. So touching it, I'm a little bit scared to try to muck with it. But I like this lightbox. It has kind of a very Apple feel to it in terms of the style of the lightbox. It's nice in that the background dynamically resizes. It is an image background, right? But it does dynamically resize, which is nice. But I do plan on releasing a completely new lightbox stack that's based off the lightboxes that you see when you launch screenshots on my product pages, and we'll be seeing a new stack from that some point. Okay, so let's go ahead and start looking at browser testing. Okay, so let's just go ahead and we have our page pretty much set up already, right? And if you didn't know, within RapidWeaver, if you click on this little button here, you can say preview. Okay, and then you can preview your page directly in a browser. Okay, so you can say open this in Safari. Okay, and of course it'll open over here, and basically it opens my page in Safari. Okay, now since Safari uses WebKit, so does RapidWeaver. It's pretty much Safari is going to be pretty much look exactly what you see in preview for the most part, for 99.9% of the time, right? What you see in Safari is what you'll see in preview. Okay, so you can do that for any browser, right? So it automatically finds browsers that are on your machine, even some that aren't really browsers. Like you can add stuff to Evernote and whatnot, because Evernote registers itself as a browser and whatnot. But for browser testing, we're pretty much doing I want to do Firefox 4. So I can easily now open up this page in Firefox 4 and see what it looks like. Okay, so that's definitely a nice thing to have and do. Quickly test your site, see what it looks like in various browsers. Let's say we want to see what this page looks like in Opera. Okay, and we open it in Opera, and there we go. Okay, now if you notice, we do have some issues here, right? If we see it in Firefox, look, my title is this. Which isn't what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to kind of have this new font, right? So you're supposed to use font face just like it does in here. Okay, so that's an issue. We'd have to go and look at our CSS for @font face and try to troubleshoot that if we cared whether or not it looked like that in Safari. But as you see, it doesn't look terrible in Firefox. But it would be nice if we had a completely uniform feel. Okay. And any other browser, we have Chrome as well, right? Those are the main browsers, right? You have Chrome, Firefox, Safari, okay, at least on the Mac. Okay, now I'm going to go over some more esoteric options that we have here. Go ahead and quit these browsers. Okay, and basically, a lot of people, of course, want to know what their site looks like on an iOS device. Okay, they want to know what it looks like on your iPhone, on your iPad. And for that, okay, there is a great tool called iOS Simulator. Okay, and basically you can open up any page you want in iOS Simulator. Oops. Let's see if we might have to try that again. There we go. Okay, so you have to load iOS Simulator and then basically do the preview again, and you'll see that particular page within your iPhone. Okay, now how do you get this? Okay, this is a free app that comes with Xcode. Okay, Xcode is Apple's, of course, development tools, and they used to be completely free, okay, but recently Apple, when they put Xcode on the App Store, charged $4.99 for it, okay? But for that $4.99, even if you're not planning on ever developing any sort of Mac app, okay, there's a lot of really great tools that ship with Xcode, and iOS Simulator is one of them. Okay, and I think iOS Simulator is a fabulous app for people who are designing websites, because they can simply go ahead and, as you see, have a nice little iPhone interface that they can completely interact with. Okay, they can see what their website looks like on an iPhone. Okay, they can even change the hardware, so they can say, I want a version of my iPhone, the device. Okay, so right now it's an iPhone. I want to change it to an iPad. Okay, looks like I have to reload my preview here. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, so now here's what the device looks like, and you have full scroll, quasi touch capabilities. I'm not exactly sure how you would do zoom. I've never actually tried that, how to zoom in on the iPad. Oh, you can rotate it left, right, so you can see what your website looks in landscape mode on an iPad, right? You don't want to do a shake gesture. I don't see a way of zooming. There might be a way to do that. I don't know. I wonder if you could do. No. The zoom on my trackpad doesn't seem to work. You can definitely scroll, right? So basically, you click down and pull it, and you can see that. But again, you can change it. So we have iPad. We can go to iPhone Retina display. Okay, so here's the iPhone Retina display. Okay, and again, if we just want to look at this page there, oh, look there, it loaded it. It reloaded the page. So really great tool. I think you guys should really look at buying it, and it's only $5 for Xcode. And yeah, it installs a buttload of stuff that you're probably never going to use. But stuff like this iOS Simulator are fabulous for testing your site. Okay. So that has to do with my ideas around iOS, simulation, and iOS, checking out your website and whatnot inside the iOS. Again, I think it's really cool. Any questions on this before I jump into Internet Explorer testing? Okay, so again, if we just go to the App Store app, right, you can go just type in Xcode. Okay, and you'll see it's right here. Okay, it is $4.99, I believe. Okay, but it does come with a slew of other apps. If you're curious of what other apps are there, I'll go ahead and let's peruse. There's a few other apps that are actually pretty interesting for application developers. So we go to developer, application. It installs everything under developer. So then you have applications. Let's see, utilities. Let's start off with audio. I haven't used any of those. Let's see, no. Some of these graphics tools are fun to play with, but they're nothing really all that useful. No, utilities. Where's the iOS simulator? iOS simulator, it's probably buried somewhere. Let's see, iOS simulator. There it goes. So it's under developer platforms. Wow. Okay. So it's kind of really buried in there. Okay. Applications. Here, iOS simulator. But once you install Xcode, I believe it automatically registers iOS simulator as a browser. So that way, when you're in RapidWeaver, you can easily go down into here and say preview, and you can select iOS simulator right here. So I don't really ever have to remember where in the world the app is, because that's pretty much how I use it. Okay, so that's cool. Some other tools actually are Icon Composer is good if you need to create icons. File merge is a fabulous tool to do diffs between files, right? Find the differences between files, merge those differences together. Really great app for that, actually. Really great. It's one of my favorites. There are a lot of third-party apps out there, but I tend to actually merge changes together. I think file merge from Apple is pretty darn good. Those are probably the two really the big ones that I think, and those are the iOS simulator and file merge. I think the SleepX app is interesting. It allows you to sleep your computer after a certain amount of time or something like that. Package Maker, if you wanted to actually create installer packages and stuff like that. But again, there are some useful tools within Xcode, even if you're not a developer. Okay, so I recommend that. Get iOS Simulator. It's a great way to preview your sites. Okay, let's jump ahead and now jump into some Internet Explorer. Oh, Tron came to the rescue. I gotta test this. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna have to go back into here. So Tron says that if you Alt left click and drag for zooming, and let's try it. I've never done that. So Alt, oh look at that, Tron is the man. So Alt, and then you can zoom. As you see, it creates like two little fingers, and you can zoom in. Zoom into the page and zoom around and see how it works on your iOS device. Very cool. Thanks, Tron. That's awesome. Hey, we have Elixir joined us. I did a small plug for your icons a little bit earlier, Adam. So excellent. Now we're going to go into Internet Explorer testing, and it would be nice if there was a nice little preview Internet Explorer, of course, but IE doesn't work on Mac. So there are a couple options to get Internet Explorer on your Mac. Okay, Parallels is one. I own both Parallels and VMware Fusion, and I prefer Fusion. It's just I've used both. I think Fusion has a nicer UI and whatnot. So I already have Fusion already started. I have a Windows 7 instance with IE9 here. Okay, but let me show you what I do. So and actually it was working, and I must have did something to break it. So and I didn't have time to troubleshoot this before, but for some reason that's not working anymore, and I think it's the permissions in my virtual machine. So please bear with me. I want to try to get this working again, because I did have it working just last week. I had things working, so bear with me. I think it's just a sharing permission, because if you saw when I tried to open up my site from RapidWeaver inside IE, I got a sharing error that it couldn't access the file. I'm wondering if I just if I share my whole hard drive, if that'll do it and make it read only. Okay, I'm gonna give that a shot again. and this could be maybe just an issue with Windows 7. I don't know. Oh, that did it. Awesome. Okay. So I had to change the settings on my virtual machine. If you saw, let me review what I just did. So if you guys have VMware Fusion, basically go to your virtual machine settings. Okay. And here's the settings screen for it, and go to sharing, and make sure that you have your hard drive set to be shared. I set it to read only just because I really don't need VMware, Windows writing anything to my hard drive. Okay. I'll give it read access, but that's about it. Okay. Then the next thing I did, if you notice here, I go preview. Okay. Just as I do in any other RapidWeaver site. And then since Internet Explorer isn't here, if you notice, I click Other. Okay, when I clicked Other, you'll notice that I have an Internet Explorer.app. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and actually show you how I created that. Okay, it was just kind of a shortcut for me, so I can easily, access Internet Explorer whenever I wanted. Okay, so what I did was go ahead and open up Finder. Okay. So from within Finder, you're going to want to go and navigate to your virtual machine. Okay, so I'm going to go to download, not downloads, documents, virtual machine, and then you find your virtual machine file. Okay, so I have a few virtual machines on here, but this is the virtual machine that I use on a regular basis. Okay, so find your virtual machine, right click and go show package contents. Okay. And then inside there, you'll see a folder called Applications. Okay. And then if you make this a little bit wider, you'll see that you have an Internet Explorer app. Okay. So VMware goes ahead and for every Windows app that you have installed in Windows, it actually creates a Mac app for you to launch it. Okay. So basically what I did, I already did this earlier. Let me go ahead and delete that. So normally you'll see one. Okay, what I do is then basically right click on your Internet Explorer app and say make alias. Okay, then you can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it, I'm just going to call it Internet Explorer.app. Okay, and basically now that you have Internet Explorer.app, you can go ahead and drag that into your applications folder or wherever you want. Okay. So it's noticed that I've already had it in there, so it's just kind of ignored it. Okay, so if we see here, oh, it actually just created a duplicate. Okay, so now I have Internet Explorer.app. Okay, and when I double click on it, oops, it opened over here on my other desktop. If we double click on it, you'll see that it opens Internet Explorer for me. Okay, I don't need to worry about opening up Windows and booting it. Oh, another thing, if you're curious, I am in Unity mode. One of the reasons I like VMware Fusion a little bit more is that it has this thing called Unity mode. Parallels has similar feature, but I like the way VMware does it better. And basically, it takes all of your Windows and makes them look native and how interact as if they were just Windows on your Mac. Okay, so that's how we created the Internet Explorer.app. Okay, and let me go ahead and open up my RapidWeaver file again. And now that we created that app, I can go preview other. Okay, and go to your applications folder and find your Internet Explorer.app that we just created. Click open. And it does open up your file in Internet Explorer. Okay, so this is a great way to really quickly test stuff and open up an IE. That way you don't have to publish your page to some remote site or export it to a local folder and then try to move that to your Windows VM or open it from within your VM. This is just a really seamless, fluid way of quickly previewing things in Internet Explorer so that they look halfway decent. Okay, so you can then do your debugging. Okay, now of course I have IE developer tools enabled. And one thing that's nice about IE9, they did add, browser compatibility. So if you want to see what this site would look like in IE8, you can just switch the browser mode to IE8, and you'll easily see exactly what your site would look like in IE8. You can also go to IE7, and there we go. You can see what the site would look like in IE7. Okay, so if you see our caption here got a little bit, put off to the right. Our my title got a little cut off up here on the top. So I might want to look into that if I really wanted to make sure that IE7 users had a consistent look and feel for my particular page, right? A quick note about browser modes. I've noticed while they are nice, there is slight inconsistencies. Okay, than if someone had a actual IE7 browser. Okay. But, it is a convenience thing here. The only other way to do that is if you were to have, multiple VMs with one with IE7, one with IE8, one with IE9 or something like that. You can definitely then do, similar things. You can maybe create, different Internet Explorer apps in your application, one for 7, one for 8, one for 9, that open up from different virtual machines. Okay. Definitely possible. You could do it. Okay. This is just a quick and dirty way to do a quick snapshot of what things will possibly look like in previous versions of Internet Explorer. Okay. Any questions on what I just went over with IE9 browser testing and kind of how to make that a little bit simpler for you? Cool. Well, I'm not seeing any more questions, so I'm going to call it a day, guys. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you enjoyed today's overview. Some of you hopefully you learned something new, maybe a new little tip or trick. And I really appreciate it. I love doing this, and I hope you love watching it. So thank you very much, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.